my presentation will not have much panache, so I use the, my presentation maker is at college. Good morning. How is everybody?
Good.
Excellent. So I should have said in Mary's introduction, she said, will you remember? It should have been, will you remember me? See, this week is what we call speech week. So they know that in the house, it's my time to give the speech. And so Sunday I start thinking about some ideas, and Monday starts thinking about some ideas. I start jotting them down, and nothing's resonating. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this speech. And finally, thank goodness, the mailman brings me this on Tuesday. And it's client trust and communication. And that kind of piqued my interest, and I started reading through some of the articles. And one thing I found in there was clients will remember 25% of what we say. And I started thinking about that because you will remember 25% of what I say as well. And I thought about that a little bit, and I thought, why is that? But as Mary said, I've been a member of Toastmasters for 3.5 years. And when I tell my friends about Toastmasters, they say, oh, that's about giving a presentation, a speech. And yeah, we craft speech. We want to learn to be good presenters. But I think there's another side of that about how do we become good listeners? And that's what I want to focus on today. So, in fact, by 2 o'clock today, you will forget 50% of what I said. And by October 1st, if we had the same conversation, you will have forgotten 75% of what we say. So I struggle with that because we have important things to say, and what's the impediment as far as what we're saying, and why is the listener not remembering, so to speak? And it's not on them, it's how we're wired. So a couple of things that as I dug into this conversation, and we started looking at this, it said that 55% of what we talk about is nonverbal. It's the presentation. It's the hands crossed or open. It's our facial expressions. It's not the words we say. 38% says it's the tone we use. Either I'm really excited or I slow down a little bit. And so we're listening. Really only 7% is actually the words we use in that study. So I started thinking about that. How are we presenting ourselves, and are we listeners? And how do we increase our listening? Because nonverbal is not a sound. There's the other aspects of what we do. But here's the real problem. See, we can speak at about 125 words per minute. But our mind, the way we think and our thought process can digest about 400. So think of anybody still on dial-up at home? That's how we speak. And yet over here we're on Google Fiber in our mind. And so even as I'm making this presentation, I will guarantee you there's some in this room that what am I going to do tonight? Am I going to go to the game tomorrow? Oh, Tim's talking. Because see, there's a buffer issue there because the mind can process faster than we can speak, and so we start to drift off a little bit. And that's the problem. In fact, we are lousy at listening. We're lousy listeners. In fact, there's no class in school. We have reading class, math class, but there's not a listening class. We don't learn how to listen. So I'm going to give you a couple ideas of how we can increase our listening ability. That's a couple things I want to share with you. So the first thing I want to talk about is remove distractions. Turn off your phone. I see some phones maybe out, maybe not. I've been in those meetings where somebody brings their laptop and they're typing away. I don't know if they're listening to me. Shut the laptop. Be engaged with that person. We've all been in those meetings where we all sit around with our phones and waiting for the first one to grab their phone because that gives us permission for everybody else to grab their phone. And we put it on silent vibrate. So, I can hear the vibration. Somebody's purse is vibrating. Is that your purse? What's in there? So turn off the distractions. Number 2, turn off the radio, the TV. I was in a meeting not too long ago, and he has Sports Center in his office. He has a TV, and Sports Center's playing 24/7 in there. And he's watching the scroll going across about everything going on with sports. And as I was watching that going, could you turn the TV off because I'm getting half your attention and half the attention's about what's going on that. And so we want to make sure that if I'm going to be presenting, I want to make sure my person that's listening is going to have the best opportunity to hear what I'm saying. The last part is for a quiet place. If you're out making a presentation or you're going to do a meeting, go out to that place prior to see exactly what the acoustics are. I made that mistake. We went to a place not too long ago to have kind of this meeting of minds and marketing ideas, and the background noise was terrible. And I should have known better after we picked the place, because it was not conducive to having the meeting. So those are things. Remove the distractions. Be engaged and engaging. Once again, going back to that 120 words per minute versus the 400 we're thinking about, have we ever got to this and we're thinking and I hear a conversation and I don't want to interrupt? Mom says never to interrupt. So I go back and I say, oh, I need to ask me that question. So they stop and they say, any questions? You raise your hand. Oh, I forgot. It just came in and went out as, what I'm going to ask you to do is take notes. Take notes of the meeting so that as you're asking and remembering what those questions are, you can go back and you take notes and then you can ask questions. Be engaging and engage. Last but not least is this. It's SOLER, S-O-L-E-R. And we already do this from speech. There's a lot of parallels between giving a speech and also being a good active listener. Smile. Everybody here should be smiling. I smile, you smile, so we're smiling. Number 2 is openness. If I look at this, everybody's kind of turned their chair, turned their bodies to be open to the, so as a listener, you're opening up to the conversation. Nancy's leaning in. Janelle did that earlier. She's leaning into the conversation. She's engaged. She's having eye contact. Not only am I making eye contact with you, but you're having eye contact back with me. And last but not least, relax. Those are things that we've been taught as a speaker, but they're also how we become as a good presenter or as a listener, I guess, on the other side. So that's really, if we want to become better listeners, as I wrap up, remove the distractions, take notes, be engaged, and then remember the smile, be open, lean in, eye contact, and relax. So the good news with this presentation, part of this, is that I get to do it again. See, I'm going to take all of your feedback and Maureen's feedback, and I'm going to recraft this to give it a second time based upon that, as far as my project with Pathways. So with that, I appreciate it. Thank you.